All right, so I started out here on the inspection. I'm not going to bring you through the full inspection here. I'm just coming out to point out problem areas. So this is the main shutoff. It worked fine for the house. It shuts everything down. One thing here is heading to the irrigation. They just tapped onto the end of this and added it, which means they reduced down to 1/2 inch and then went back up to 3/4 inch. You're not supposed to reduce in size to get larger again. If everything's ran at multiple times all at the same time, then it'll be a lack of pressure because it can't keep up with it because it doesn't have the water volume in it. And then down here on this guy was off. This is for the irrigation shutoff. When it's on, it's got a steady leak. And also one of these guys will not turn off and just constantly leaks out of there, which is why these were off. So what I would suggest doing here is at a minimum change this shutoff so it doesn't leak and put in a ball valve and upgrade all 3 of these because they're similar in age. So if one's having problems, you may as well upgrade all 3 of them. And then we'd reconnect the wiring so it's connected into the system and everything like that. The other thing that we could do if they did want to fix this area that reduced is we could rebuild this whole thing. Because if we're going to be taking off past here, we may as well upgrade this to a ball valve too. Just so then we eliminate both gate valves and clean this whole area up so it looks way nicer. And so that would be my suggestion here. I'm going to bring you to the next issue that I found. These are the laundry bibs here. When you go to turn them off, they leak. These shouldn't leak when you're operating them. This one also leaks when it's being turned. And so I open them back up so that they stop, but it's not normal for them to be leaking. So it'd be a good idea to replace both of these guys. As for the water heater, it's installed perfect. It has a pan, has a drip leg over there. It's bonded to all the wires. It's got a TMP that's got grade and runs outside. It's got the straps that it needs, expansion tank, foam on the water pipes. It's all up to code on everything with the water heater. It looks like the unit is from 2020. So it's only about 5 years old, which average life expectancy of a water heater is 8 to 12 years. So I think that they're doing good on that. I'm gonna bring you over to the next issue that I found. Everything was good for the most part in the kitchen area. I tested the disposal. It drained, didn't back up through not the disposal, the dishwasher. It drained, didn't back up through the air gap, just poured right into the disposal. The kitchen faucet works and doesn't leak. I didn't find any leaks on any of the piping underneath there. The ice maker shutoff is that one with the yellow tag on it that's heading over to the fridge, so you got control over it. And nothing's leaking down here. There is an electrical outlet that should be covered up, shouldn't be exposed like that. And then the only issue that I found is this faucet's loose. And so we may just have to get under there and tighten a bolt on that guy, which is what I would try first, just because everything functions and doesn't leak. And then we'll go from there. But it's just a little bit loose, so a lot of times maybe it just came loose a little bit under there. I don't like to mess with stuff when I'm not actually doing work on the house. All right, so I'll bring you over to the master bath. I did notice their toilet fills up real slow. So here's the master bath. So there's only a couple issues I noticed in here. One of them is this fill valve fills up extremely slow. And so that'll be annoying if people are using the bathroom back to back. The toilet itself is all functioning fine. I would suggest just upgrading that guy to a new one, and then it should get rid of any of that sediment or stuff that's clogging it up, and it should fill up a lot faster than this. And then right here in this same bathroom, the shower here works, but it's got to be missing some parts in here because this thing just does a full rotation. It doesn't actually have a stop that turns it on and off, so you got to kind of find the middle spot that's the off position, which isn't normal. It should just turn all the way to the hot side and then turn all the way back cold. It is a Moen valve, so we should be able to find parts to rebuild it so it has whatever it needs in there to function correctly. All right, so under the house we didn't find any leaks or anything like that. I did see this blue pipe here, which is what they used to tap into to feed the back of the house. And they connected it with shark bites on either end, and it looks to be the cheaper Home Depot style PEX. And so I personally don't like shark bites as a permanent solution. Usually they should just be used in an exposed area that you could see, as a temporary thing, or just visible in general. They shouldn't be under a house or in a wall or anything like that. So we could change this to a regular style PEX and re-tee into where it's connected with the shark bite and do it with more permanent fittings that could have a warranty. And so nothing's leaking on it right now, but I just like to point that out because those shark bite fittings don't last as long as the good fittings. And so I'm going to just take one more peek around just to make sure I didn't miss anything on this house. And this should conclude the inspection video here. If there's anything else that I missed once I double check this, I'll click it back on here. All right, so this is the last thing that I noticed that's not correct with the house. And so this is underneath the home in between the two restrooms. And so this gray piece here isn't the right type of piping that you need to be used with this. This is supposed to be ABS piping, and ABS glue can only be used on ABS piping. So, but they included it on this. The gray stuff is usually for electrical lines. Obviously it's connected, it's not leaking or anything, but it's not the right type of piping. And over time, because that glue's not compatible with it, it'll probably start leaking. And then a couple other things that they did, because this is probably a remodeled section. Is that drop of glue or did they cut it? I'm gonna take a closer look. If you notice there's a line down the side of it. I'm gonna check because I'm kind of wondering how they got this fitting right here. And then they used a sharp turn 90 here and here for the toilet. And so they did it to make it fit. And the reason they did it is because they would have had to take apart a lot more piping to be able to make the new tie-in to make it connect properly without using these sharp turns. But it should be a turn like this one where it's more gradual slope. If this ever clogs up, it's going to be difficult to get the snake to turn through all this stuff because they just did the hard turn 90s. Those are supposed to only be for vents. And so I'll list an option to correct this. It would involve taking all of this apart and a little bit extra of the piping that's tied into it. As you see, a lot of stuff kind of joins up right in this area. And unfortunately, to be able to fit what we need here to do the tie-ins properly, we'd have to take apart more of the pipe. But I'll list an option for that. No, that just looks like it's just a drop of glue that fell on the side. It's not cracked from what I can tell, but it's still the wrong material. Oh, it's DWV. So it is. It just must be older. DWV is for drain lines, which is PVC, but you still should be using transition glue on here, which is a green glue, not the black one. So this is something to keep an eye on. And then, like I said, those sharp turns aren't good. And so that concludes everything with the house. I'm going to make a separate video for the sewer line as well as the guest house in the back.